After last 2 weeks of drama in the impeachment hearings, Congress has now gone home for the Thanksgiving break. But they did leave behind certain thoughts and expectations for what's going to happen when they get back, or maybe even during the break, including this twist you might not have expected. Quote, now that House Democrats have wrapped up public hearings on President Donald Trump's pressure campaign to get Ukraine to launch politically advantageous investigations, there are plans to hold at least one public impeachment hearing on Trump's misdeeds, as alleged, in the special counsel's report. Oh, really? Having been surprised on a near daily basis by this story and these unfolding scandals, with this, as with everything, I will believe it when I see it. But is Congress going to hold a public hearing on the Mueller investigation in a way that they haven't already in the context of this impeachment? We do know that Congress is interested in whether the president has obstructed justice, for example, by stonewalling Congress, the way he stonewalled the Mueller investigation. And honestly, when it comes to the Mueller investigation and when it comes to the core allegations at the heart of that scandal, well, we just got a really, 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 really good new account of how that all came together. And specifically, what the people who looked hardest at that evidence came to know about the president, how they came to know it, and the price they paid for it when it became known what they were doing. Glenn Simpson is a former investigative reporter at the Wall Street Journal. He's also the founder of Fusion GPS, the firm that began looking into Donald Trump right after he joined the presidential race in 2015, the firm that hired British ex-spy Christopher Steele of the famous Steele dossier. Republicans in Congress have hauled Glenn Simpson in for testimony. They have gone after his bank records. They have tried to discredit him at every turn. But Glenn Simpson is still doing his work. He has a new book out with his Fusion GPS co-founder and fellow Wall Street Journal alum Peter Fritsch. The book is called Crime in Progress, Inside the Steele Dossier and the Fusion GPS Investigation of Donald Trump. And I've read kind of all the books on this subject. I mean, not like there's a whole library of them, but there's a number of books on this subject. This is the one you want to read. Let me just give you this one part here about the Mueller report, just to give you a little bit of flavor. Quote, in the end, the Mueller probe sidestepped the question that so unnerved Fusion GPS and Christopher Steele in the summer of 2016. Was the president of the United States under the influence of a foreign adversary? As the dust settled on Robert Mueller's work and his desultory testimony before Congress, several realities became clear. First, the main lesson of Watergate wasn't heeded. Mueller did not or was not allowed to follow the money. There's no indication in his report that the investigation looked at Trump's taxes, his outstanding debts, his curious relationship with Deutsche Bank, or his long history of financing real estate projects with foreign cash of unknown origin, precisely the places where Russian influence efforts were most likely to surface. They continue, quote, was Russia using economic or other leverage to manipulate Trump? Did that explain Trump's bizarre coddling of Putin and his reluctance to impose sanctions or say a harsh word about Russia's illegal seizure of the Crimea, its use of chemical weapons in England, its attempts to hack the U.S. election system? That central question, whether Russia had Trump under its thumb, was the focus of a secretive counterintelligence investigation that, according to Mueller, was hived off from his duties early on. Its findings, if any, remain buried deep in the bowels of the FBI's spy hunting unit, where they will likely remain. Joining us now are the authors of Crime in Progress, Inside the Steele Dossier and the Fusion GPS Investigation of Donald Trump. Fusion GPS co-founders Glenn Simpson and Peter Fritsch. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here. It's good to have you here.
Good evening. Thank you.
I feel like not only I, but all of us have heard so much about all of you. Having you here telling your own story feels like a real turn of the tables. In the prologue, you make clear that this is only possible essentially because of the investigations of you, because of the way that Congress came after you. Can you explain that?
Well, the Republicans controlled Washington for 2 years, all of Washington for 2 years, and they used that time to investigate the investigators and dig into us and waste enormous amounts of money trying to find something on us that would discredit us rather than investigating the Russian attack on our election and our democracy.
And the consequence of that materially for you is that you're essentially freed up to talk about some things that would otherwise be confidential client matters?
That's absolutely right. I mean, we respect our covenants with our clients, in this case, the Democratic National Committee and the Hillary for President campaign. We were not able to talk about those things for a long time. And in the meantime, faced a lot of pressure from Republicans in Congress, specifically the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, and the House Intelligence Committee, Devin Nunes.
In terms of the way that you approached your work, the reason I think that this book is sort of the one you should read of all the books that have been written about this subject is because I feel fairly steeped in this matter, and I learn something on every page. There's just a lot of detail in there that I didn't know. Everything from, the criminal background of the guy to whom Trump sold his house in Palm Beach, that $100 million house, to Lindsey Graham supporting John McCain's decision that the Steele memo should be shown to FBI Director James Comey, which you wouldn't know talking to Senator Graham today. The point is we started in August of 2015, working for Republicans, by the way, lest anyone forget that. And we turned up a lot of, indications of Trump's kind of unexplained relationship with Russia and with Russians and people who are alleged and convicted criminals, up to and including now Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort was actually one of the most interesting and shocking sort of appearances on the stage for us because we had worked on him more than a decade ago at the Wall Street Journal.
Something that and the Dmitry Firtash was another subject of our reporting back then. So it was quite extraordinary to have written about several of the people who, a decade ago, who surfaced in 2016.
In terms of both of you having background at the Wall Street Journal, the type of work you've done at Fusion, the ability that you have not only to do exhaustive public record stuff, but really to get into the financial and business side of things. You raised this provocative question early on and return back to it again and again in the book, that one of the unusual things in President Trump's business history is that he did try over and over and over again to do deals in Russia. He went to Russia. He tried to set up deals there. He did set up deals in lots of other international locations, but for some reason in Russia, nothing visible ever came of it.
That's why we call Chris Steele. It turns out there's no public records access laws in Russia that allow you to actually get to the bottom of some of the questions we had. So because of that, we turned to the most, in our judgment, the most respected and competent person to conduct some of those inquiries.
And it's still an enduring mystery, but the circumstances under which we came to Chris were more prosaic than what we're living through now. We weren't looking to see if Donald Trump had a secret relationship with the Kremlin. We were looking into whether he had been involved in any sort of questionable business deals, sort of more routine foreign corruption cases, that sort of thing.
We'll be right back with Peter Fritsch and Glenn Simpson, Fusion GPS co-founders. Their new book is called Crime in Progress. It's really good. We'll be right back with them after this. Stay with us.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.